We have a demonstration coming up in just a moment. I'm going to mute everybody, and that way I can do this and explain that our demonstration is being done by one of our members. It is being done for free. We ask that you allow him to do his demonstration, him or her, do their demonstration, complete the demonstration. If you have a specific question about what they're doing, you may ask it during the demonstration. Please do not correct the turner. Remember our no but guarantee? I like it to do that way, but no, 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 no. Wait till we get done the demonstration, okay? Because these folks have donated their time and their efforts and their talents to show you another piece of wood turning. Now we're going to go to Mark Sillay. Mark, you were silenced a moment ago, and you have to, I see you took it off mute. So Mark Sillay is going to do our demonstration this evening. Welcome, Mark. Glad to see you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Ray. Let me get this iPhone attached here over my lathe. Okay. Let me move this light out a little bit. Can everybody see the lathe?
Yes, sir. We're looking at it top dead center.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we're going to, everybody knows that I teach on 2x4s. And if you can slice wood on a 2x4 and
Just lost your
on any
sound.
hardwood. Hello? Can you hear me?
We're there. You cut out a little bit, but we're with
Hello?
you.
Can you
Mark?
hear me?
We have you, Mark.
Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. Here we go. So what we've got a 2x4 attached on here, and I'm going to I was asked to show how I make my little ornaments for the children to paint and some of the different shapes and everything. As I go along, I'd like to do a real quick review just for those that are new. I saw a guy tune in there that was new about wood slicing. Okay, so the difference between, for me, for wood turning and wood slicing is very simple. If wood comes into the tool, it's always a scrape, no matter what tool you use, right? When you reorient the tool so that the tool is vertical to the rotation, then it acts like a little farmer's plow, and the curve of the tool is going to gradually lift and curl the wood, and you're going to be slice. Okay, we're going to start out here. I'll just take a roughing gouge real quick. Let me get a roughing gouge. If I take a roughing gouge, all right, I got to change my light here. I got to change it. Okay, can everybody still see? Okay. Okay, if I take my roughing gouge and I do this, then the wood was coming into the tool and you can see the surface. Can anybody see that surface where it's all roughed up?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if we reorient the tool, right, so that the wood rotation is in line with the blade, like this comes past the blade, as you can see, there's no sanding required whatsoever. It's absolutely pristine, shiny, and no tear out. So that's what we're going to try to accomplish with every tool. That's what I teach. Anyway, so the first thing we have to learn is how to get into the wood without having a screw back, which we call the east-west rule, right? If the flute faces this direction, then the tool has to enter the wood in that direction, no exceptions. If the flute faces this way, we have to always enter the tool that way, no exceptions. If we cross, if we have the flute this way and the tool pointed that way, then everybody can see that it's called a catch or a screw back. That's the east-west rule. So if your flute faces to the east, then you can enter to the east. If your flute faces to the west, the tool has to enter to the west. We always see people putting their thumb on a tool because they don't understand the east-west rule. They're trying to prevent that, physically prevent that screw back. Not good. Anyway, so when this tool enters the wood, we stick it with the flute straight up and down. So that's what we call 12 o'clock. And then we're going to turn the tool. If I'm going this way, I'm going to twist the tool after I have bevel contact. I'm going to twist it back to 11 o'clock. That lets the point go in like a farmer's plow, and the bottom portion of that blade is going to lift and curl the wood, just like the dirt is curled on. Okay, so here we go. We're going to make a simple straight line V cut. We're going to remember, he says, so we stick it at 12, we roll it back to 11, and we slowly arc it to the center. To go this way, our flute's facing to the west, so we stick it at 12, twist the tool to 1, and we arc it into the center. 12, 11, arc to the center, 12, 1, arc to the center. And as you will see, absolutely no sanding required whatsoever. Now, to get rid of this little garbage in the middle, right? Everybody wants to move their tool this way and try to dig it out. No, sir. Watch this. 12, 1. We arc to the center. As soon as the point of my tool is directed toward the center of rotation, all I do is turn and twist back to 12. I come back down here. I'm at the 1 o'clock. As I approach the center, then I twist back to 12. And there's no whizzers. It is absolutely clean. That's a V cut. Now to make a cove, real simple, we're going to make a V cut. We're going to remove the material to give the tool a place to go without jamming it. So now I've got the heel of my hand on the tool rest. That's the fulcrum that I'm swinging my body with the point, pushing the cut line. I'm going to twist it. As I go through, I'm gradually going to increase the twist. And in the V cut and the bead, the tool has to go to the center of rotation. In a cove, the tool has to end up above the center of rotation. So I'm going to push. I'm going to lean my body to the right. That makes the tool go to the left. As I do that, I drop the tool and I twist. Here we go. 12, 1, push, lean, drop, twist. 12, 1, push, lean, drop, and twist. Absolutely no, that wood is sliced, no sanding required. Now this is not a 2x4. Now when you start working with, dogwood and gaboon ebony and, maple and things like that, you'll find that it's even cleaner. So now I have to lean back this way with the handle as I go in. So I'm going to go 12, 11, push, lean, drop, and twist. See how that goes right above the wood? 12, 11, push, lean, drop, and twist. And when I the cut is all the way down the side of the parabolic curve. Let's go even that up. And we get a code. Okay, to do a bead, right? The reason people can't make beads is they never start on the equator, right? The bevel always has to be 90 degrees to the equator, period. If you go in like this, it's not parallel to the equator. And you get a little corner, see, you get a little corner. Their beads look like that. If I go forward and I bring the handle around and I go down toward the center of rotation, then I get a bead. I'm going to take the corner off. Okay, here we go. I'm on the equator. I make the cut line. Now I'm pushing the cut line all the way around, down to the center of the, and I get half of a bead. And you'll see that there's no tear out. It's completely sliced. Now to go this way, I have to do what? I have to make a place for the tool to go. So I have to make a V cut here. Now I've got a place for the tool to go. I'm back on the equator, make my cut line, and I go around and down to the center of rotation. And everything is sliced clean. Okay, so all we have is beads, coves, flats, discs, and points. So to make a flat, I'm going to take the side of the blade, go halfway down the blade, and I'm going to lock my heel to the tool rest. And all I'm going to do is rotate my hip to the right, and the tool is going to go to the left. And it's a skew cut. You see that? No torn fiber. Let me do that one more time here.
Yeah. Hi.
Okay. Okay, so now we're going to make a point. We make a point very simply by taking the center of the tool, 12, and we're going to take it to the center of rotation. Now I'm going to back this off. So here, all the way to the center. I'm going to make this sharp point. You see that? I got it down to one fiber. Now, to make the discs, right? What we're going to do is we're going to put the spindle gouge 90 degrees to the spindle, and we're going to twist it to the 1 o'clock cutting position. We're going to lock the heel of our hand onto the tool rest, and all I'm going to do is lift the handle up and let the tool go down. So that means that the bottom blade touches the wood first and clears the way for the point. Here we go. Where it's twisted to the 1 o'clock position, I lift up, I touch the bottom blade. And that's all I need to do. Now to make that sharp disc, right, I put the point, see this edge right here? I put the point behind that edge. and I lift up again on the handle. And even on a 2x4, I get sharp edges. And you see those sharp, I'll put my hand underneath, get some contrast. You see those sharp edges? So those are the only 5 cuts in wood turning, period. There are no other shapes. Everything's a combination of beats, goes, flats, discs, and points. Okay, so going on to how I make my ornaments. These are all basic children's ornaments that children can paint. They're made out of 2x4s I use. Let me undo this. I'll put a new one in there. Any questions while I'm changing blocks here?
All I can say is wow.
At some point, Mark, show them how you grind that tool.
Okay, I will. Let's get this in here. Yes, folks, you can do this fairly adequately with a regular spindle gouge grind, but I use a convex back. I never use the concave back like you get off of a regular grinding wheel. Because this tool here, you see, I can do all of my roughing, I can do my shapes, and I can do all of my cutoff. I never use a parting tool to ever cut anything off a lathe because it's always a scrape. And you raise the fibers and you have to sand the bottom. Okay, here we go. What I'll do is I'll make some of the typical shapes that I make that you can reproduce. And this is really simple stuff, but let me tell you what, kids love these little ornaments to paint. I sell them for $3 a piece or 4 for 10. And if you want to time me, it only takes a few minutes to make. So I'm going to rough. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do everything with a spindle guide. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to make is I'll show you how I make my snowman. I'm going to pull this back. And if you ever, like the reason I stopped the lathe is to show you that if you ever have a doubt, if you ever say, did I tighten that chuck enough? Always go back. And if you ever have a doubt, take the time to make sure that you've got it tight. Okay. So the definition of a snowman is basically what has 3 balls and a hat. So we're going to make some beads. Now, when you make the bottom here, if you want this snowman to set up, then you're going to have to make a concave. What would happen if I touch the tool this way? It's going to bounce back at me. So as long as I have bevel contact, then I can go up underneath. I can go anywhere I want once I have bevel contact. So now I have a concave there that'll do that. And then what I like to do is I come up here and I'll sort of reduce the diameter. So now I've got a place for my tool to go. I go back on the equator. The bevel's 90 degrees the equator. You start turning it around, nice and slow. Let the tool eat itself into the wood. So now I've got to make the center section. Now where that whizzer is joined, I'm going to come back around. And my tool ends up at 12 o'clock to get rid of all the whizzers and make it clean. See this? We're coming around and then we go back to 12 o'clock. And it's absolutely pristine, right? So now let's see. I'm going to have my center section. I usually make a little bit longer than the bottom section. So I'll do that. I'll get a basic shape. Then I come up here about so far and I make the bottom of the hat. So now I can take this off with a simple sideways move. We'll go ahead and we'll complete the body torso here. And now we'll go ahead and make the head. Roll around, make sure that tool comes back to the 12 o'clock position. See how clean that joint is, right? And then we'll make a slight little indentation toward the head. And that's it. Now we have the snowman and the hat. Now I'm going to size the rim of the hat. Make a flat cut. So now I've got the rim of my hat. I'm going to make the top rim. And just hold the tool. Let it eat itself. Let it eat itself. If you try to jam it, this is unsupported. You're going to jam it off. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make the curve of the top hat. Just make a cove cut. Boom. We have the top of the hat. We're going to take some of this off. Right. Now we'll make some V cuts to give our tool a place to go. Come back in here, get to the edge of the hat. Slice it on down, make some V cuts, get it sort of thin. Then we'll have to go over here and support this. Right? We'll go in there and just hold the tool and it'll come off. And we have a nice little 2x4 with no sanding that a kid can paint. And then the only thing we do is we take a little thing, we'll punch it in here. Just give a little place for the eyelet to go. I use gold plated screw eyes so that they never tarnish like brass. Then all I do is I just twist it into the little hole. And we're done. You can get the gold plated screw eyes. They're 8mm, 4mm gold plated screw eyes. You get them off of Etsy. They're about $5 on it. So there you have a snowman that a child can paint. The next most popular thing is you see this right here? This is the waste part that's left. We can also work with that. But let's go on to the Christmas tree. Any questions on the snowman? Okay, we'll go to the Christmas tree. And you guys can do these things out of any type of scrap. It doesn't have to be a 2x4. But a lot of your construction sites have 2x4s laying out by the street. And people know that I give hundreds of these things to the hospitals and charities and all that for the kids to paint. So, but the biggest thing that you have to learn is how to use your tools and how to make the basic shapes. If you can't make the shapes, the basic 5 shapes, and use your 3 basic tools, right, then you're just putting yourself in for a lot of time with sandpaper and a lot of time messing around. That's just totally wasted. Okay, we're gonna make Christmas trees. Okay, so now we're going to use the technique of making a point. And if I start here and try to make this all the way, I'm getting deeper and deeper, and I'm going to throw this thing out of the chuck. So we always work backwards in all of our designs and wood turning, so that we're only taking like a 16th of an inch. Okay, so I've made the basic Christmas tree shape. Did anybody see that little wobble that occurred?
Yes.
So when I see that little wobble that occurred, I'm going to do what? I'm going to go over and take another bite on here. Now, if this Christmas tree is going to just be sitting, if you make a little forest of Christmas trees, then you can go ahead and you can make your point. And then we may make a pretty little ornament up on top. We'll roll a little bead here, maybe make a teardrop. See that? If we're going to have this where it can hang on a Christmas tree, then we can't have this little ornament. So what I usually do is I put a ball up. Let's get rid of that. So we'll put a little ball. Here we go. We'll roll a little ball. And now we can start doing our discs. Go behind the edge, just lift up with your hand and hold to the left. Just make a series of these. It's an easy way to make a very attractive little Christmas tree. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we've got to make the bottom part of the Christmas tree. We're going to have to take some V-cuts to get rid of material. We'll just say that this is the bottom part of our Christmas tree. Our V-cuts out, go a little bit farther. Take the V-cuts out, go a little bit farther. We'll take a final V-cut right up there. Roll back to 12 so that's nice and clean. We'll make a V-cut going this way to make a base. Take some V-cuts out. Give us a place to work. Now, I always like to have just a little chamfer, right, so that you can see underneath the base. So now, if I go in like this thing's going to go pow, right? So what I have to do, I have to lay my bevel on there first. If I lay my bevel, then I can turn my bow anywhere I want without catching. Go back up underneath. Right? Make a V-cut. Make that a little bit lower right there. Go up underneath. See, once you lay your bevel on there, you can go anywhere you want without any catches and screws. People don't understand that. So now I'm going to just put that back there, hold it, and it slices off. I've got it. I can't. Let me see whether. So what we've got a nice undercut, everything shiny and clean, and all those edges are pristine clean, even on a 2x4. And then we just poke our hole and we put our little ornament in. Any questions on a simple tree?
That's
No, I
nice.
think it's beautiful.
You're,
What?
you're,
You what?
you're really talented.
I didn't
Very.
hear what somebody said.
So you're just very talented. That's very nice. Thank you so much.
Wait a minute, I'm gonna do the bell next. We're gonna do all the basic popular ones, and then you'll have an idea of how to do things or how I do them, right? Because again, this is material that is usually thrown away by construction companies, and it's just a whole lot of fun to recycle them and watch kids paint them. And I just cut my my 2x4s. You know, the 2x4s are like about 1.5, something like that. And I cut them in 6-inch lengths. And then I can get a ornament and a top out of each piece of wood. So. Can I ask you folks a favor? I have to go to the John. Can I come back in about 5 minutes?
Certainly.
Hello?
Sure, Mark.
Okay, just do something else for 5 minutes. I'm going to be 80 years old. When nature calls, you got to go. Thank you. I'll be
And we all know that feeling, right? All right.
Yeah. No
All
lie.
right, we have Mark Sillay doing our demonstration tonight. A little bit, we'll talk a little about how we sharpen that tool. One of the most enjoyable times of my life was sitting through a Mark Sillay morning class with a wood turning club. He was taking the tools and himself and going to the grinder and showing the people in the class how to sharpen their tool, what procedure he followed and how he swept it through and how he made it that fingernail grind. And it is really a fingernail grind. And he said he doesn't like the concave. I don't either. You lose your working bevel. Let's not argue about that. But the way he's showing you, you can easily work that tool. And I love the way he says you go in plumb and then you roll it around. You go in, you roll it around. If you adapt that type of tool use to all your turning, you'll find that you're getting cleaner cuts, safer cuts, better cuts. Your tools don't get as dull as normal because you're not putting that in the ammo troops, we call it a brisance, the impact of the tool against the wood. You're slicing it. It's just, if you want to practice it, get out your good old fashioned pocket knife, get a broomstick and start shaving down the broomstick. Now, as you're going down, keep the blade in line with the board and just tip up a little bit and get on that bevel, and you see the little curlicues coming off. Now, okay, to finish the story, kick it up a little bit more aggressive and start pushing it down. What do you get? Well, you're not going to get very far to start with, but then the cut you're going to get, it's not going to be very good. And you're going to have something opened up. Now, I've seen beautiful work and seen them in our gallery here in a meeting where you can see the pulls and the tears and the rips, and you can't sand that out. You can't. You can sand all day long. You put that much heat into the piece, something else is going to happen. Why have it? With your bowl gouge, your skew, your fingernail gouge, all of them, if you ride that bevel and control that cut, then you'll get a slice, a true slice. And that's what we're looking for, that true slice. We're going to go back to Mark Sillay right now, and finish up our demonstration. Mark, I think you're back and we are ready.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we have you.
Oh, okay. All right. So now what we'll do is one of the other popular things is a nice little bell. All right. So I'll show you how I do the bells. Real quick here. We get this round. And pull this back. Let me make sure it's unsupported. I always want to make sure that this thing is tight. Okay, here we go. So we got a little clapper at the bottom. So that means we're gonna have to take a little length off of the end of this. So that ought to be enough for a clapper. Now a bell usually has a chamfer on it, like that. And now we have to go underneath, just like we're gonna take the bottom off of I'll maybe move this back so you guys can see this a little bit. Yeah. This is the exact same thing you do when you're taking the tenon off the bottom of a bowl, right? So if I go in here, if I push this tool in here, what's going to happen? Pow! That thing's going to catch because it violates the east-west rule. But if I do this, I now have bevel contact. Now I can turn my tool. Oop, I just did that. And I can go up underneath. You see that? I got bevel contact, turn the tool, and go back up underneath. And that's all sliced, just shiny slice. I'm gonna make a little bead here for my clapper. I'm gonna go ahead and touch in here. And go back. We'll clean that up. Then we have a little clapper. Let me move the thing a little bit and you'll be able to see better. Okay, so now I'm gonna go up here for the body of the bell. I'm gonna start making speed cuts. Just get rid of the material. So now we're gonna make an OG curve. We're gonna start with a cove. We're gonna transition with a flat, and then we're gonna bring the cut back to the tip of the tool and make a bead. So here we go. All right. I'm going into a cove, I'm pushing, I'm leaning my body, making my tool go to the left. Now I'm straightening out, and now I'm coming back around to make the bead. Let's refine that a little bit. Go all the way around in, and we get that nice transitional OG curve. Now we're coming back to the tip and down into the center. You see that? Very fun. We make sure that we make those joints. We turn it to 12. We're going to make a little V-cut right here. And now we're going to create the lowest point of the handle, the lowest diameter. So we just start pushing the tool. And you notice, see the cut, I'm pushing the cut line with the point of the tool, but the lower blade is always curling up the wood, just like the dirt from a farmer's plow. So now I'm going to come back in here I'm gonna make my curve, get my cove. Now I've got it down to my lowest diameter. Now I can push forward because this is end grain. If it splits out, it can't split out except above that lowest diameter. And again, I don't know if the camera can see this. Let me go back here and just show. I can't. Can you see where I'm at? Let me go back here. I can't. Let me see what you can. All right. Can everybody see how I hold my tool?
Yes,
I've got
sir.
a body
Very clear.
triangle, right? Because we're always pushing the tool with our body. And we know I'm right-handed, so I can never have my left hand up there, right, influencing the tool. I can only have the left hand can only push it down. So I keep a body triangle, right? See how I got that transition out of that? Anyway, let me go back to what I'm doing here. I do everything with my, yeah, you see people with their hands up here and all this, right? They don't know what they're doing. Make a V cut, because we always have to have a downhill approach. See, I've got that downhill for my cutoff. That means that as the tool goes in, the wood has a place to go. If I do it uphill, then I'm just forcing it and this thing's gonna break off. And you'll notice when I'm turning, if I do finials and everything, you never, ever, ever see me ever put my hands around for any type of support. And you'll never see this waver. All of my cuts go into the headstock or into the tailstock. I never put a cut across a piece of wood. I don't want my hands here. It's a safety issue for me. So now we'll go to cut this off. Now I'll support it here. Downhill, downhill. Now I can come around and slowly slice that off clean. Get my hand out of there. But anyway, so now we have a little bell. I'll
There you
do
go.
it.
Remember, you've seen three shapes, and we wanted to see your shapes. We keep going, Mark, but we're going to have an ornament challenge on December 20th. That's an ornament challenge for you to show the ornaments you've turned. And that's for every member in the club. We had a fantastic turnout last week for the Birdhouse Bob challenge. And coming up December 20th, we're going to see your Christmas ornament challenge. All right, Mark, keep going.
Okay, just to let Bob know, you can take a 2x4 and see, you can cut a little ornament. That's all just one piece solid 2x4, right? But you can do a little tiny birdhouse, you know? Anyway, another thing you can do when you're turning the tops, you take these pieces, I'll turn it. This is how I turn my tops, all right? That's out of the leftover piece. I'll turn one on the next thing I do. All right. Another thing you can do that's a lot of fun. That's really simple. Make a simple ball. Right. Just put two wire lines in there and take a magic marker or whatever and put a little stripe on it. And I did one the other day. Let me show a couple more. Okay. We've always got to consider the Jewish faith. So we make little candles, right, that sit up. And here's one of the most popular things you can make is ice cream cone ornaments. The kids love to paint these things different flavors, And I'll just show you how I do those real quick. And then if you want to see my advanced stuff, where I do the toothpick technology and all that, I think some of you guys have seen it, but for those that want to see it, I do not use tenons to put my Christmas ornaments together, right? I teach toothpick technology so that I can make 50 different finials and they'll all interchange. I can interchange them to any ornament that I have or whatever, right? Because it's tenonless joinery. Right? And you can even do the sea urchins and the irregular surface shapes, and it'll always join, and there will never, ever be a gap where the finials join. I can do that one day real quick, or one night real quickly here, or whatever. Okay,
All right.
we'll do a little. You know, Eddie, I'm crazy as all get out. So
We know that.
okay, we got to make the bottom of the cone, and since this is way out here, I just in a habit to do this. I always like to make sure that nothing has changed when I've tightened that down, because I'm leaving myself wide open for an accident. Okay. So we're just gonna make a little waffle cone. And remember to go up underneath. I can't do that. So I have to do what? I have to go this way first. Now I can rub my bevel and I can go up underneath. I can go anywhere I want to go. Yeah, so that'll sit up there. So now I'm gonna go up here. I'm gonna make just a slight little bead. That's all I'm gonna make. Then I'm gonna come over, I'm gonna turn that bead around a little bit. Little corner. On the top. And come back out. Now I have my ice cream cone. So now we got to do the first scoop. Make a little V cut right there. We got the first scoop done. Now the second scoop is not going to be as wide. So now we're going to go here. Make it nice and clean so that there's no wizards. All sliced. There we go. And now we're going to make our second scoop. You get that little corner out of there. Now we're going to make a third scoop. Can you guys see what I'm doing okay?
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay. Oop. Got a little bit rambunctious. Go back and give it some support. We go downhill, make it downhill, then we can. We got an ice cream cone. And the kids can paint whatever flavors they want. Since we've got a piece here, I'll show you how I make my tops off the waste block here. I push across and just make a very low center of gravity. Now I come back up here, make V cuts, get rid of the tops. Now this is very important to make the side cut. Again, it's a flat cut. We rotate our hip to the right, the tool goes to the left. Now we make a skew cut and it's absolutely pristine. I usually make a little thing like that. Start doing that. If you want to color that, you know, you can always take a, while it's spinning right there, you can make all kinds of designs. I just color that right there. Then the kids can identify it when they're doing their work. And you see around. Okay, now you can see what I'm doing. Now I'll make a little V cut that way and clean it up. Okay. And so now I gotta just turn that camera just a little bit. Okay, here we go. So now I'm gonna make my flat cut. I'm just moving my hips to the right. Go in here and make a little cove and then run a flat. Make a cove, run a flat. Make a cove, run a flat. Make a cove, run a flat. Then I go around, I'll put my finger at the center of rotation over here so I don't put a torque on there, and just go in and just hold that and it'll cut right off. And then I have a nice little no sand spinning top that's done.
Very nice, Mark. Very nice.
Hey,
Now,
Mark,
you
you've really
you
been
wanna-
doing these in
Yes.
6-inch butter cubes, haven't you? Because
I
everything's
what?
cutting like butter.
Hey, Mark, there's a pretty lively discussion in chat about how you would put a swirl on the ice cream cone, like Dairy Queen.
Oh, I can. I can if it, yeah. But you call me up and I'll show you how to do it.
All righty, I will.
But let me. You what? Anyway, no, but what you're trying to do here, you're trying to do something, because when I have my lathe out there and the kids are in front, you know, the object is to try to do one of these things in usually about 3.5 minutes, these ornaments, so that they just go, you know, and it's a lot of fun. And you'd be surprised how many ornaments I have sold in my lifetime. Not only that, but given away thousands and thousands. Right? But anyway, I'll do the little
Mark, would
camp.
you hold your tool up and do a close-up of it so everybody can see the grind better?
You need to show us how to do that grind, Mark.
Okay. Okay, let me put something dark on the back here. Let me get something dark.
Now, y'all do know that you get really close to having to pay him, because this is what he does at his demonstrations. This is one of the most awesome parts of the demonstration right here.
And okay, we have a parabolic curve on the front, which you can make with your jig. Right? But then instead of grinding, the tool, right, on the wheel with a concave grind, everything I do is convex. By having it convex, what happens is, I don't know how the focus on this, is it blurry or is it still in focus?
Right down a little bit and you got
Can you-
it right there.
And
Yeah.
yeah, right there. There
Okay.
you go.
Well, okay, so if you'll notice that I grind it a convex grind, that means that the only metal that ever touches the wood is the first 128th of an inch. Then everything else is breakaway. So if you have a concave grind, right, then the only way that you can get bevel contact is to touch the tip and to touch the heel. So that doesn't work for me. All right. Anyway, the way we do it, I'm going to go, let me see if I can go over to the, let me go over to my grinder here. Okay. I'm going to have to set it down and lift it up again. Just bear with me, folks.
All right, while Mark is making that adjustment, let me mention to the new members that these demonstrations will be on our website where all the other demonstrations are. And our webmaster, our master webmaster, Dave Rhodes, will excerpt the demonstration and place it on the website also. If you have something you'd like to add to our website, send it to David because we are in the business of sharing information. Now for a commercial break. Oh, wait, we don't do those. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
I'm ready.
all right. We'll go back to Mark again.
Okay.
We
Here we
only see
go.
a blank screen. We don't see anything.
Hang
Now
on,
we got
Ed.
you.
Okay. If you look at the, okay. If you look at where I set I use a Wolverine system. So I set that, this rod down here all the way to the bottom. You get that? Everybody see that?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that little lever is all the way down to the bottom. Right? And then when you put it in the jig, right? If you put it in the jig, right? Let me move that up just a minute. Okay, here we go. So if you move that up to the jig, when you go back and forth, you create what? You create a parabolic curve. That's what this jig does. And then you would take the jig away, right? You now have a parabolic curve on this shape here. So then you take the back, you go back about 1.25 inches and you roll it, and you gradually bring that up to meet that parabolic curve. It's that simple.
So the jig was used just to shape the tool.
For
You
people who
sharpened the
can't,
tool.
right, for people who can't make a parabolic curve, right, they can use the jig. If you can draw a parabolic curve, if you know what McDonald's are like, then I'm going to turn this thing on. I'll show you. All right. I'm going to do this one-handed. So what I'm doing, and you never go over, you don't go quite to vertical. And then you simply take the back, and you join it to the front. And now you have a parabolic curve, and it's all, no matter where I touch on that tool tool, the bevel is only 128th of an inch, and it's absolutely effortless, you know, when you're doing the wood turning. Because I do a lot of the commercial turning, and I can't afford the time to sand. I can't afford to physically fight a tool. The tool has to work for me. It's that simple. And anybody who wants to, you know, come to my place up here, visit or whatever, they're welcome to. I will be happy to, if you call me up and say, Mark, help me, we can get together on the iPhone, and I will be happy to give you some personal instruction. It doesn't cost you a nickel, right? But I can make all 5 shapes. I can do the roughing, and I always do all my cutoff with it. I don't use never heard, the only thing I use a parting tool for is when I'm sizing beads and coves on hair legs or something like that.
That was a
But
3/8.
anyway, you what?
That's a 3/8 inch spindle gouge.
3/8 inch spindle gouge.
Yep.
But I do not use detail gouges. Detail gouges have too much metal. I can do much finer work with a regular gouge than I can detail gouge. A detail gouge has a very thick back, right? It's made for reaching way over a tool rest, but you can't make near. I can make much finer stuff with a regular deep flute spindle gouge than I can with a detail gouge.
Mark, if I don't have one of those little doohickeys to put it on the grinder that make it a jig, can I sharpen this or shape this on a belt sander?
You can.
That's what Trace says. Trace says if you got a
Yeah.
problem, take it to the belt sander.
Right, it'll work.
You see? You see, like David
If
says,
you-
how far did the tool stick out of the jig? That was for shaping, Mark, David, and there's a 247 rule on that, but it's not that important.
No, it's not that important. But my bolt gouges and stuff, I use the old standard 1 3/4 distance away. And but anyway, Trey knows exactly what I'm talking about, and he's been schooled and trained in that type of sharpening.
Oh, yes.
But Mark,
Yes.
I did have one problem. I was trying to show somebody how to sharpen a standard spindle gouge, and I looked in my 15 different spindle gouges, and every one of them was sharpened to the same way you're doing it. I couldn't find a single standard grind.
To show 'em.
I can't either, Mark. He's not alone. You sharpened mine for me probably 8 or 10 years ago, and everything I have is sharpened that way. It is a handy, useful grind.
I see a new spindle.
Right.
I can't talk. I see a new spindle gouge grind in my future.
All right, Billy.
My gouge that I use is a reground spindle gouge. Same thing. They're great for this, and you don't really use them. I mean, most of us don't really use them much, so they're just laying around waiting for an opportunity.
Do you
Look
want,
at the
you guys
quality.
want me to do a candle or not?
Sure.
Yeah, let's
Do
go.
it.
Let's go. We got a demonstrator live and direct. We'll do it.
All right, or okay, I'll do this candle, and then I'll show you how I do a finial. I'll do a 2x4 finial. How's
Okay,
that?
All right.
great.
All right, I'll do this real quick because we got to remember the Jewish faith, and you got to have something around for those kids to paint too. All right, let me go see if I can get this thing back on my little holder up here.
They can do
All right.
dreidels too, guys.
Yeah, I can do all kinds of things. Let me see.
Okay, members,
okay.
members, we will continue the gallery after Mark's demonstration tonight. Here's the rule. Put it in the chat that you've got something for gallery, and we'll whiz through them real quick. But we've got a good demonstrator. And like somebody asked earlier, what makes you a professional? We do work like that. There's no hat or
Yeah.
bars or straps or anything. We do work like that. And you can do work like that. All you have to do is work on it. If that's that a fair sentence. All right, let's see, we have Cade in house tonight. Welcome, Cade. We'll get to you in a little while. And we're up at almost 100 members in the club tonight, which is good. I'm going to ask you one favor, folks. Invite your friends. Invite all your friends. Tell everybody in your club, everybody in your gang that we're here. And this is what we're doing. Nothing's being sold here. We are sharing information. Tonight we have one of the best. All right, Mark, let's turn some wood.
Here we go. I'll just do my rough and gouge on this. Get rid of that. Okay, here we go. We'll see if we can do a little flame. So we'll make a little point. Center of the tool to the center of rotation. Bingo, you see that? We got down to one fiber. Take the edge of the candle and make some. I gotta move my camera out just a little bit. There you go. Put that light down there. Okay, now we'll side. We'll do a flat cut. Okay, now we'll take this diameter down a little bit, like that. Go ahead and roll us a little curve. And we'll go back, we'll keep coming around the curve and make a slow little, like that. We'll do the flat move. All right. All right, so now we'll make a little bead this way. Violated the east-west rule. Up underneath. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna rub the bevel. And turn it over. Up underneath.
Mark, I think you're frozen. There we go.
You reach over and grab it. And so we have our little candle with an undercut. Well, my last thing I'll do tonight, I'll do a little finial for you. We'll do it out of 2x4 so you can appreciate the wood slab.
Members, we
most
had
of my
a two
finial-
by,
What?
we had a 2x4 turning club when we first cranked this thing up, and it's not a bad idea. We're probably going to start pushing it again. If you turn it out of 2x4, we want to see it, and we'll push it in a club.
Well, they're great practice material. It's cheap.
Yeah, Heather just said she's going to go to the house to build the next door and score up. So
There you go. And you go to the big box stores like Home Depot, stuff like that. They've got the what they call cull lumber. They spray it with purple paint. It's 70% off. And so a lot of times some of these 2x4s are twisted or split. I buy them up. It's good for the kids. It's just stuff to do for the kids. Let me make sure that this is all right. We'll do us a quick finial and then
Hey, Mark,
probably board every.
can you
What?
check the angle of your camera? We're not seeing your wood.
it's a good looking tailstock.
Thank you.
Hey, Mark, do you own any
There
other
we go.
tools?
Do I what?
Do you own
All you
any
need,
other
basic-
tools? It looks
Yeah,
like I need
all
to
you
sell
need-
a bunch.
Right. All you need is 3 basic tools. You can do 99% of all the work. I mean, about that simple. I'll get this thing rounded. Okay, we'll just do a little quick finial here. See, now that point is it's too pointy, right? It would break off, right? But just let you know, you can do it down to 1 fiber. So we'll do this. We'll make it about like that.
You're working below where the camera can see. There we go.
Oh,
Thank you.
is that better?
Much better. Thank you.
Now we're gonna make our lowest diameter.
Remember, that's
Now,
still pine.
that in relation? You see that in relationship to a 3/8 spindle gouge?
Yeah, that's less than 1/8 of an inch thick.
Yes.
It's about a 1/16 of an inch thick.
I think the technical term is itty bitty.
What?
The technical term for that is itty bitty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right next to teeny
Yeah,
tiny too.
I had a different technical term for itty bitty. When I grew up, it was an itty bitty, teeny weeny polka dot bikini.
Oh, he's old, isn't he? Wow.
Well, don't worry, you won't be seeing me wearing one of those.
Okay, now I'm gonna make a
Thank
V
you.
cut out here. I'm making a V cut out there so I can complete the bead. You see how clean those joints are? There's no fuzz, there's no nothing. We always see I keep turning it back to 12 to clean that joint up. We'll go in here and do a V cut there. Let's do a little cove right here. Let's take that and develop it from this side. Making a cove. I'm gonna move my body to the right, make the tool go to the left. Now we're gonna bring the cut back up to the tip, push the tip all the way down into the center of rotation, and we get a perfectly sliced OG curve. And again, if you practice, you can do this on a 2x4. When you get to the hardwood, it's a piece of cake. Make a downhill approach, and we'll come over with a little bead. I'll reach over. You notice that this is not vibrating. Why
Looks
is
like we
this
have a look.
not what?
Hope you're back. You had a little bandwidth problem. Say it again.
No, if you'll notice, I make all my cuts into the tailstock or into the headstock. I never make a cut across, ever.
Mark, it's being asked, what speed is your lathe running at?
2,000. And that's a piece of 2x4, right? And that, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but that's cleanly sliced. And all those little tips on the little edges there are all clean. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Gorgeous.
Beautiful as always, Mark.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Excellent demo, Mark. Thanks for sharing.
Never has to
Amazing.
stand it.
All right, well, make a bunch of these ornaments for the kids. When I went out to the clubs, I used to go to the clubs and I would donate my time for free if they were doing charity projects. And this is excellent practice. Now, if you do this, then put a piece of wood on there. Now take your bow gouge and do the exact same thing. If you learn how to do the same, make that same ornament with your bow gouge, right? Then you'll become much better at using that bow gouge. You'll learn how to keep your left hand off of the sucker and never put any influence ever on a wood turning tool with your left hand if you're a right-handed person, and vice versa if you're a left-handed person. And as soon as you learn that the only thing that you can ever do is push that tool forward and let it operate like a farmer's plow, you push the cut line with the point of the tool to the final destination. And make sure that you never move your hands. You only operate that tool from your body. Never put any hand influence on that tool, because a farmer's plow does not work sideways.
Thank you, Mark. This has been one excellent demonstration, sir. Showed us some great product here. And remember, folks, December 20th is going to be our ornament show-off meeting. And I
I've
think
got a question. Can you please
please.
explain the cuts again? Always into headstock,
Okay.
but never across?
Never across. If you push your tool across, right? Excuse me, then you're setting up this. If you push the tool into the headstock, you push the tool into the tailstock, the force is going into directly here. It's not going across to make this thing vibrate and ratchet and waver and wobble and all that stuff. I mean, I do a lot of spindle turning, lamps and chandeliers and stuff. If I had to go back and repair, right, and all these tear outs, I couldn't make any money. So you have to learn how to use your tools, because it'll take you 50% of the time right now to make a bowl or anything else. People spend, you can turn a bowl in 30 minutes inside and out. But then guess what happens? They spend 5 and 6 and 7 hours trying to sand the thing out because they know how to sand. Right? They've never learned how to use sandpaper. And I'm just sort of an old curmudgeon. I do my thing. I've been teaching for 20 years, Eddie, or something like that on the road. But there's certain things that you need to know about sandpaper, right? That people don't know. And what they do is they put a piece of sandpaper on a piece of wood. And if they put a 60 grit, piece of sandpaper on a piece of wood, you are creating your own hell, because now you have to get to the bottom of that scritch that you put in the wood. And it's going to take you 2.5 hours on an average bowl to get your 60 grit scratch out. But if you learn how to use sandpaper, you don't have to worry about it. If you learn how to slice wood, wouldn't it be nicer to start at 400?
Oh, it'd be sweet.
Yes.
Again, thank you, Mark. It was fantastic tonight. Some great
Right.
demos, some great pieces.
Not all. Thank you guys for putting up with me.
It's all right, Mark. He's a
Anybody else
crotchety
got
little
any
guy, but
questions for Mark?
Thanks, Mark.
Great job.